Hi, my name is Roger. I'm one of the roasters here at Ethica Coffee Roasters. So in terms of roasting process, it starts with us in the morning. That's when we do all the filling for our buckets. Depending on the batch size, the coffee, on the big machine, range between 11 to 13, 14 minutes max maybe. Usually we start with charging the coffee, and that's where we'll take a bucket of green and we'll dump it in the hopper right there. And the charge is the most important because that basically dictates how much energy you're going to have throughout the roast. If you charge it too high, then you might have too much energy and temperature just flies and it's a little harder to control. If it's too low, then you don't have enough energy and then you're kind of struggling trying to get to meet the roast curve, which is like our profile, and then you just get a coffee that's kind of bland. Throughout the roasting process, there's about 3 phases. The first phase, we call it the drying or green phase, and that's usually when we're just applying heat to the coffee and we're trying to drive out as much moisture out of it. Not a lot happens to it, it just stays green and it's pretty boring, but that's probably the most important key part because that kind of tells you the start of the roast, where the roast is going to take you. After we enter a stage where we mark it as color change, and that's when we know that Maillard reaction and caramelization reactions are starting to happen. And essentially in this phase, it's a huge catalyst of complex chemical reactions. Essentially what happens is that reducing sugars and amino acids start reacting with each other, and that's a lot where the complexity and body and sweetness starts to form in the coffee. It's similar to, I like to explain it like when you caramelize onions, or when you sear steak, you get that browning reactions and all those nice flavors that you get out of it. It's kind of the same thing that happens during the roasting process to the coffee itself. And that's usually when we mark when the development phase will start to begin. Now, Maillard reaction will continue throughout the development phase, but this is where we really focus on defining the characteristics of the coffee that we want, whether if it's a coffee that has really nice brightness or if it has a lot of good body and sweetness. That's where we'll try to focus more on highlighting that, and throughout the development, that's basically where we determine how far we want to take the coffee. And yeah, so then once the coffee reaches a certain temperature, that's when we will drop the coffee and it'll enter the cooling bin, and that's where we'll immediately try to stop the roasting process because there's so much heat. The coffee will still be cooking, so it's critical that you make sure you cool it as fast as you can. The Giesen has a lot of sensors and a lot of variability in terms of we can adjust the drum speed, we can adjust the air pressure, so that allows us to really tailor how we roast our coffee and gives us a lot more flexibility in the kind of flavors that we want.